Stephen has a lot going on. I guess is the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives. I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. You know, Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. You know, maybe if I feel in further defense, some things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Well, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So to those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes.
Wow, it's really up that Candace Owens is using Steven Crowder's divorce as a way to like extort him. What I find really weird about this process is that he basically implied in the beginning here that divorce should be considered like illegal in Texas. Let's run that back.
2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life.
Oh, yeah, it's just completely permitted in the state of Texas. Like, what the fuck do you mean, dog? You want it to be like, what, enforced at gunpoint? It's so crazy. It's actually insane that like he implies that, dude. Oh no, math jokes, pentagon, hexagon, octagon. My wife is gone. Oh no. Oh no. He expressed frustration that even if only she wanted the divorce, it can still go through. That's actually gross. Yeah, I mean, he just literally thinks like, oh, the old ball and chain, right? Am I right? As in like literally, I want a ball and chain. Like, why can't I ball and chain my goddamn wife?
What I consider to be well, my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should.
Pretty funny, yeah. Steven Crowder stating over and over again that he's mad that his wife isn't legally obligated to stay with him is so funny. The whole video seems like it would be on cinema at the cinema bit. Here is Sam Cedar lying about not being at fault for ruining the marriage of our favorite conservative. Some of our faves have been hurt. Divorce can be a difficult time for many, Hasan. That's funny. Except in this instance, like, this is a real divorce. You know what I mean? This is like married with children type shit. Black Crowder clarified several times that the divorce wasn't his kid's fault. Everyone watching was thinking, I bet this is Steven Crowder's kid's fault. Unfortunately, the law doesn't let me force my wife to stay with me. Freaking nature shit. Not even, because that's what he believes.
My wife and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes, which will be made alarmingly clear as this process of discovery continues. And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, kept their word and used discretion. I can't thank you enough. Sincerely, I appreciate it. Won't forget it. It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. And she wanted something else for her life. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I mean, she probably did not like being married, being forced into like a legally binding contract with a dude who has like a lot of confusion about his own sexuality. I would love to hear from her.
Says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly not the fault of my children. And I will say that what's in the best interest of my children is not internet drama, speculation, certainly not blatant or veiled shakedowns or dragging their father or mother.
Bro, the way he's talking about this marriage is so funny. Like, he said he picked wrong. Like, marriage is supposed to be about picking a person with, like, who will stay with you regardless of how awful you are. Like, okay, how about you, like, I don't know, change whatever behaviors that you exhibited that made it so that, like, your wife didn't want to stay with you even though you had kids.
And I can't be clear on that enough. Or their mother through the mud. And to anyone who tries it, I'm no longer going to pacify, capitulate, or sidestep because I love them a whole lot more than I love you.
I heard that Steven Crowder's wife has finally met a man that can satisfy her. She was attracted to him when Steven refuses to debate him live on air. Oh, it's Sam Cedar. Okay. These guys never stop and wonder why poison so rarely gets used for murder these days. That's actually a really good take. Like, straight up. Yeah, back in the day, you would hear about, like, mysterious poisonings happening in the household way more. I guess, like, yeah, I guess that's like a benefit. I guess divorce court does benefit men in that respect. Here's what Candace Owens' claim was, or Candace Owens' response was to Stephen Jebediah Crowder's claims about how she's, like, utilizing this divorce.
That's it. That's the big scary story. I then went onto my platform and I said, pray for Steven Crowder, honestly, because that's what he needs. He needs a prayer.
Okay, let's be real. You hit him with a bless your heart. Like, that wasn't a genuine prayer. That was like a you piece of type beat. Okay, come on.
And apparently nobody's answering those prayers right now because he's still acting erratic. He's now upping the ante and suggesting that I extorted him. I will not take that lightly, okay? I am not Hillary Crowder. I am not anybody in his family. I am not going to take somebody going onto his platform and alleging that I either harassed, threatened, or did anything that would put his children at risk. That is very serious stuff that he is saying. And so what I did this morning after this clip was sent to me is I contacted a defamation lawyer, and I am sending Steven Crowder a cease and desist. And I'm going to demand a full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens threatened him or extorted him. And not that I simply did a little math. 1 + 1 = 2.
Interesting. Steven Crowder, I'm getting reports that Steven Crowder tweeted this while they were in the process of divorce. Very interesting that he tweeted this at during the divorce proceedings. This is how right-wingers fight. Meanwhile, leftists say shit like, you have abandoned the cause of the people and we'll be the first up on the wall when our time comes. Yeah, because leftists are weirdo LARPers who fantasize about a future that never existed. Meanwhile, right-wingers have all the power and don't even know what to do with it. No, Hasan, you got it wrong. It was BLM. Oh, my wife, unfortunately, is legally allowed to leave the Mug Club at any time. Oh my God, that's devastating. My wife is leaving me. Change her mind. If you thought the Steven Crowder story couldn't get any stranger, Candace Owens reveals that he was dropping into her Instagram replies, "There's something about me you're hyper-focused on." She's now inviting his ex-wife to come on her show and set the record straight. No. What?
With the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well.
Did he say that in the convo? Did I miss that part? Oh my God, that would be so sick. This would be the only good thing that Candace Owens has ever done.
Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Oh, my children have a right to privacy.
He even sent me a retrospectively very flirty message thereafter on Instagram about how nice I looked on election night, even though I didn't respond to it. I found Hillary Crowder's Instagram account, and I looked to see, and it turned out that she didn't follow Steven Crowder and that Steven Crowder didn't follow her. He didn't follow anybody in her family, and she wasn't following anybody in his family. That was my aha moment. Clearly, there were some...
Oh my God, this is literally how, like, stans behave, by the way. She did the psychotic Redditor technique. I am certainly not looking at Hillary Crowder's Instagram account right now to get a better assessment of what this person looks like. Or, you know what's really interesting about this? She just seems like a normal ass Michigan lady. She also still follows Jordan Peterson. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Yeah, she's like Prager you. She follows Yeonmi Park. Let's continue.
Some sort of a separation. Now, I will not take that lightly, okay? I am not Hillary Crowder. I am not anybody in his family. I am not going to take somebody going onto his platform and alleging that I either harassed, threatened, or did anything that would put his children at risk. That is very serious stuff that he is saying. And so what I did this morning after this clip was sent to me is I contacted a defamation lawyer, and I am sending Steven Crowder a cease and desist. And I'm going to demand a full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens threatened him or extorted him. And not, it seems to me, Steven, that you really, for whatever reason, want to insert me into this narrative. Like there is just something about me that you are hyper-focused on. And so I want to help you a bit.
She's such a scumbag, but like in this situation, she's fighting against another scumbag. It's awesome. Yeah, let him fight.
Really, I want to help your wife because you essentially just used your platform. Millions of people have access to your platform. She doesn't have the same, to insult her. You picked the wrong woman, okay? So here's what I would like to do. I would like to invite Hillary Crowder onto my platform because she doesn't have one and because her ex-husband apparently just used his to insult her, to say that he picked the wrong woman. I find that to be really despicable. So Hillary Crowder, if you are watching, you are more than welcome to come on my show and to talk about what's actually going on.
Let them fight.
No, literally. I mean, straight up.